Yo, welcome back. A lot of stuff going on this week. Wanted to get back and talk about it. Finally had our first trade of the year. Trae Young, Washington Wizard. He is no longer an Atlanta Hawk. The Hawks' tenure is finally over. We got Ja Morant in trade rumors. He is now officially being in talks about being shopped. Zion, what are you doing? That's going on. Knicks losing streak. How I feel about it. Um, Kevin Durant, shout out to him. He passed Will Chamberlain on the all-time scoring list. And prayers out to Anthony Davis. He sustained ligament damage in his left hand, and he will be sidelined for a number of months, possibly longer, depending on if surgery is needed. So prayers out to him. And and maybe a football topic at the end of the show. And that's probably how I'm feeling today. But appreciate you guys for listening or watching. First thing I want to get into, Trae Young finally happened, getting traded. We talked about it a little bit last week. Um, his trade value, well, the talks of him getting traded were like high, and then it fell, and then it finally happened. So he finally got traded to the Wizards, and in return, the Atlanta Hawks got back CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. And just off rip, I just to talk about Trae Young's trade value throughout this week, that was one of the biggest stories this past week. His his trade value throughout the entire league just took a big dip. And part of that, we talked about it last week. It was just his small stature and frame, him not being able to play defense. Not only is he too small to play defense, sometimes he just don't even try. And then on top of that, the shooting has just gone down. Um, I believe he's shooting 32% from three this year, and he's not getting to the free throw line as much as he used to. Um, so that's just a big thing right there. I got the numbers in front of me. This year he is shooting um 30% from three, so it's even worse than I said. And taking 7 free throw attempts a game. It's not like 2020 he was averaging like 9 a game, and then 2023 he was averaging like about 9. So not getting to the free throw line as much. 3-point percentage is down. Um, he's not gonna punish you as a finisher. So it's just a negative asset. So his value has just been going down completely. And but with that being said, I do like this trade for both teams. I know some people were confused why there was no picks attached and stuff like that, but the reasons I just explained are why. And with this new apron and stuff like that, and with Trae Young being due for an extension, I think he does have a player option at the end of this year. Those are things that teams had to consider. And teams like Minnesota, they were like, we're good, even though they need a point guard really bad. And it's just tough for them to make a move. And that's why Trae Young preferably wanted Washington, which is funny because I was like, what player has ever preferred Washington as their destination? And I guess he believes that they would be the team that would pay him what he wants when it's time for that. Um, but in terms of the trade itself, I do like it for both teams. For the Hawks, you do get Corey Kispert. You add in another shooter for Jalen Johnson, and you're solidifying this building around Jalen Johnson's team. And you also bring in CJ McCollum, a guard who is going to score and have ability to handle the ball in situations. I'm not going to say a playmaker, but he can do some of those things. And he's another guy you are comfortable with having the ball in his hands. So in that sense, they're still able to compete. I don't think excuse me, that they're at the upper echelon of the East, but it's still you're still able to compete and fight for a potential playing spot or a top six spot. While if not, you could still hopefully get a good, nice draft pick. And for the Wizards, I do like Trae Young in the sense of I still think Trae Young, even with all the struggles, I think he does raise your floor. And for a team like Washington with no expectations right now, um, and they are playing better basketball as of late, I do like this to help the development of your younger guys. Guys like Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington, Koulibaly, helping guys like that is gonna help Sarr so much having a point guard like him that could elevate his game. Somebody like Bub Carrington who could learn off of Trae Young. Um, we all seen the the limited ceiling on a Trae Young led team, and but I do think he could raise your floor. And I don't Washington. I don't think is looking at Trae Young to be their savior. I think they're looking at him as a building block for the next potential thing. And I think Washington is slowly but surely getting better. And I think they will build as a team. I think they're making the necessary steps to get there. And hopefully if they solidify with a top 5 pick in this draft, I think that could accelerate some of it for them too. So if I was a Wizards fan, I'd be a little bit more optimistic for the future and what's to come. Um Trae Young and I guess I think for me selfishly as a I don't even know if it's selfishly, but as a Knicks fan, it's like so poetic that his first game as a Hawk or his first game as a in his NBA career was against the Knicks, a loss. And then his last game as a Hawk was a loss against the Knicks. And for that, I just want to say, Trae Young, nah, but good luck to you in Washington. But hopefully, like for me, there was no, I don't know, I don't got no beef with Trae Young, but sometimes you gonna have to catch it straight just because of the Hawks Twitter. The next thing, Ja Morant. It was reported by Shams that the Grizzlies are entertaining offers to move Ja Morant, and I think we could say we all saw this coming, especially within the last few weeks. And the biggest headlining of guys were like Trae Young, LaMelo, Ja. They were like all pitted in that group of like, all right, these are gonna be the next guys that get moved. We just saw it happen with Trae. LaMelo, I'm not sure as much now if he's gonna get moved. And then now it's Ja Morant. And then a report came out today that the Kings are feeling lukewarm on Ja Morant. And the Kings, who just fell to last place in the Western Conference, they're saying we're like, on Ja Morant. So that really tells you everything you need to know. Ja Morant is another one. He's a guy he's misses games every single year. I don't think he's played. I think the most amount of games he's played ever was his rookie year. I think he played like 67 games. He's never played more than that ever. I'm looking at it right now. His rookie year played 67 games. Second year 63. Third year 57. Fourth year 61. Then he played 9. Then he played 50. This year so far, he's played 18 out of what, 40 games potentially? Yeah, it's how many games have the Grizzlies played this year? Yeah, the Grizzlies have already played 38 games. Out of 38 games, he's played 18, so that's less than half. Um well, yeah. So he's always missing games every single year. He's not a threat as a shooter. He's athletically He is not the same as what he used to be. And it's crazy to even say that because he's still only 26 years old. And it just feels like we're seeing like Ja Morant on the decline. Teams that I can envision Ja Morant going to. Um, well, the Kings. I mean, it feels like such a Kings move, but if they're saying they're feeling whatever about it, I don't know if they'll make that move. A lot of people earlier in the season were talking about the Timberwolves, and I don't know how they would feel about it. And I feel like it's kind of a hard move to do, and I just don't see it. And I feel like the Timberwolves are playing really good basketball right now, so I don't know if they'll do that. Uh, the Miami Heat was one that I thought about. I think that would be pretty interesting. Uh, I don't know who exactly would be in that deal, but I think if there's one team that could revive Ja Morant's career, it could be the Miami Heat. Because I think if he doesn't work in Miami, I don't see him working anywhere else. Um, I did think about Phoenix, but I kind of like what Phoenix got going on right now. I don't. I think Houston said they're not interested at all. Uh, so I would say Miami. Uh, I think there was a report somewhere where it was the Bucks and I don't I don't know about how I feel about that. I think there would be it was like something about giving up Ryan Rollins and Kuzma. I don't know. I think the Heat would be pretty interesting. But I think it's gonna happen. I would say like around the trade deadline, something will happen. We've seen ever since uh ever since Taylor Jenkins got fired, it's kind of been downhill for Ja Morant. And I think for the Grizzlies, I don't think they're really losing any sleep with this because it's like they've been able to draft so well. They got a good return from the Desmond Bain trade. I think they're gonna be just fine without Ja Morant. I think they'll be able to pivot and find the next thing. And it's tough to say that because Ja Morant is kind of like the face of that team. So for them to eventually and possibly trade him is gonna be like, oh shit. But they do find some good guys in the draft. Like I really like Cedric Howard. Jalen Wells is pretty good. Uh, Santi Aldama's good. Zach Edey has proved a lot of people wrong. They still have Jaren Jackson. I think they're gonna continue to have him there and build. I'm not gonna say around him, but keep him there, and I guess just build within that core. And I guess it sucks, but and I don't think they're gonna get a crazy return back for Ja. And I think the Grizzlies said they are prioritizing getting I think draft capital and young players. And I don't know how much of that they're gonna really get. So we'll see about that. Next thing I want to talk about, I do want to talk about uh I do want to talk about the New York Knicks losing streak. Uh well, at the time of this recording, they haven't fuck. So the Knicks losing streak, the last 6 games they've lost. Well, yeah, in the last 6 games they're 1-5. And the biggest thing is the defense. The defense has been really bad. And there's no answer. We're letting teams just run up on us, run up on us. It feels like we went away from the Mike Brown system, moving the ball and trying to get out. And I, I'm like, I'm damn near in panic mode, and I know you could say it's pathetic. Like, yo, we're in January, you're really panicking right now, and I'm like, yeah, because I've always I've always held high regard to the 40-20 rule, winning 40 games before you lose 20. And I thought the Knicks could do that this year. But we got to 23 wins and then we just started losing like crazy. Currently, the Knicks are 24-14. So we got to win, 16 more games before we could lose six. And I don't see that happening. And I feel like Karl Towns has struggled tremendously in this stretch. Uh, in this last 6 game stretch, I looked earlier, he's averaging like 17 a game on like 23% shooting from the field, 39%. I know 23% from three and 39% from the field. So it's just been really, really a rough going for him. And it's just in question. Like, I don't know if he's going to show up on a night to night basis. And I know he had his comments about he doesn't really know his role on the offense, but he's going to have to set the tone somehow because it feels like against certain teams, I could already know he's going to have a bad matchup against. Monday night against the Pistons, horrible. Got outplayed. He only had, 6 points? And he only took like 4 or 5 shots. Like, that's unacceptable, especially when you are the second highest paid player on the team. You are the second best player on the team. You cannot be having nights like that against Isaiah Stewart. And we got ran out the gym with Jalen Duren not even playing. That was embarrassing. We can't have you can't have games like that when you are the number 2 guy. So it's just an area of concern. I'm not trying to get on here and trying to shit on Cap, but it's just the reality. And a lot of teams have seen it lately that the Knicks are just soft. Like, we don't have any tough and just dogs in general. And that's kind of why I see all these reports where they want to get Jose Alvarado. And as much as I would like that, I feel like he's not gonna be the answer to everything. I feel like I would like them to get 2 players at the deadline. So if it was Alvarado and Misi somehow, they could make that happen. I would love that. Or maybe Keon Ellis and Precious. Something like that where you get a point of attack defender and you could get like another big or like Mitchell Robinson insurance. I think that would be a big help. But yeah, it's just a big concern. Uh, I'm not in full panic mode, but I'm really like I'm pretty concerned right now. Um, next thing, Ja Morant. No, I already talked about Ja Morant. Zion, what are we doing? Zion paid 2,000 for an OnlyFans model. Um, what are we doing, bro? You are a professional athlete moving crazy. And at this point we gotta look at you because most celebrities is paying that money just to just for them to keep their mouth shut. You're paying all this money and you're getting exposed left and right. So you gotta take a look in the mirror, bro. And you just gotta really, I don't know. It's just a bad look. Even though he is playing well, it just looks crazy. I I, I don't even know what to say. It just looks so crazy on that part. But come on, Zion, you gotta do better than that. Um in terms of basketball, uh in terms of basketball, another report just came out that the Nets are dark horses for Ja Morant, which I could see. Um I could see that Ja Morant going to Brooklyn, being the star attraction. That would be something very, I guess, appealing for both sides. I don't know who would be in that trade. Uh, in terms of basketball, that's pretty much it. Uh, I did want to talk about. I did want to talk about some NFL because it is the start of the NFL playoffs. Uh, do want to give my picks. Uh, I think I'm gonna just go for this round. I'm not gonna go all the way to the Super Bowl. But Rams Panthers game is in Carolina. Well, the game is actually going on while I'm recording this. I had the Rams winning this game. They're currently up 17-7. So I think that's really no in-depth explanation. I'm just picking the Rams. I really fuck with the Rams. Stafford is my MVP. Puka is my fantasy MVP. So I'm gonna go with them. Packers Bears. Uh, Something tells me that the Packers is gonna win this game. I don't know what it is, but that's just the feeling that I get. Even though I do like the Bears, I'm a big Caleb Williams fan. I like what Ben Johnson has done this year with the Bears, but I just have this feeling that the Packers are gonna win, and I can't shake that feeling. So I'm gonna ride with the Packers. And then tomorrow we got Bills Jaguars. Josh Allen's my favorite quarterback, but I think the Jaguars is hot right now, and I think they're the team that I would look at. Uh, Spoiler: I think the Jags are going to the Super Bowl. I think it's crazy, but this team is just on fire going into the postseason. Liam Cohen has done a tremendous job with this team. Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well. We've seen since the Jacoby Myers trade that this team has looked a lot better. And with Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, them playing how they're playing, uh, Travis Etienne is still playing really good. Uh, Brian Thomas hopefully steps up. And we'll see from there. I think this team is really, really good. I do think it's gonna be a close game. But I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. Eagles, Niners. Uh I think the Eagles win this game. Uh Best defense, or one of the best defenses versus one of the best offenses. So that's gonna be an entertaining game from that standpoint. But I'm gonna take the Eagles. And then Chargers, Patriots. Uh I don't know why, but I think the Chargers might beat them. I think the Chargers might do it. Um This will also be a close game, but I feel like this gotta be the time that Justin Herbert gets his first playoff win. It has to be. Because if he doesn't, I feel like the talks are gonna be insane. And I think this Chargers defense has played well as of late. So I think I think they could really go into New England and probably and bother them a bit. And then Texans Steelers, I'm gonna go with the Texans. They've been playing really well. Steelers, this is the end of the road. Everybody knows. Uh, Playoffs, first round exit. Why would I think this year will be different? I don't know. But I don't think that I don't think the Steelers are gonna shock anybody in this matchup. And then the last thing I do want to talk about is the Giants head coaching position. Or vacancy, I should say. Uh for those who don't know, I am a Giants fan. And so now there are, I think, 9 or 8 head coaching vacancies right now. And the talk of the week is John Harbaugh after he got fired from the Ravens, and him potentially being the next New York Giants coach. And at first, I didn't really want him just because it was like, uh, but now that I think about it, the more I sat with it and just thought about it throughout the week, I was just like, yeah, I think I think the Giants should absolutely go after John Harbaugh. Um, and I think the teams with the best like situation, or like, I guess if I'm trying to think from his perspective, like, all right, these teams have like a good situation. I would say the Giants, the Falcons. I don't want to say the Dolphins, but I guess living in Miami, no state income tax, that is valuable to some people. But in terms of football, I think it's lower than the other two. But I think with the Falcons, you have Drake London, you have Bijan, Kyle Pitts. I know people are kind of on the fence about him, but you still have like a pretty talented group. Quarterback is in question. Uh, Michael Penix got hurt. Kirk Cousins played pretty well at the end, so that's up in the air. And then with the Giants, you have Jackson Dart, your quarterback. You have Cam Scatterbull. You have Malik Neighbors coming back. You have Wandale Robinson. You have a really nice defense. Brian Burns just had a really great season. Abdul Carter looked really good at the end of the year. Um, you have one of the best offensive tackles in Andrew Thomas. So, and I think just the value of playing here in Jersey, uh, I think the value of playing here and winning here just holds a lot more weight. Because I guess with Atlanta, you would be in like the weakest division, so you could literally go into that team and just win the division every single year. But I feel like it says a lot when you could go into a tough division like the NFC East, especially now. Well, people might call it not that challenging, but I think Harbaugh knows as well as anyone, like being in the AFC North, that tough division, as of late, I think it's fun competing for that top spot. And I think just being able to do it here, I think it just holds a lot more weight. If you're able to not only win the division, make this team respectable, I think it's just going to go a long way for decades and for years to come. So I think there's a lot of things that the Giants have that Harbaugh could look at and be like, I think he could work with that and hopefully expand on it. So I think he would be the number one coach I would want the Giants to get. Hopefully, maybe Mike McDaniels as an OC, but now I'd probably be asking for too much. But I think that is, I think that's the way the Giants should go. But that's gonna be it for today. Uh, I tried my best, as I don't know, y'all could probably hear it, but I'm not feeling too great. But I was trying to do the best that I could to get something out. And yeah, but that's gonna be it. Appreciate you guys for watching, listening. If you guys are listening, if you guys are listening, please give us 5 stars. Please like. Um, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on TikTok at the J&J Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at the JJ Podcast 1. We appreciate you. And I'll see you next week. Peace. Yeah.